Ottawa's real estate market isn't just about home prices or listings anymore. Bigger forces like interest rates, job numbers, GDP growth, and even US-Canada tariffs are shaping where things go next. So in this update, I'm obviously going to break down the August numbers, but I'm also going to be connecting them to what's happening in the economy and giving you clear advice on how to position yourself if you're buying or selling this fall. And by the end, you'll see exactly where the opportunities are here in Ottawa and how to take advantage of them. So let's get into it. Let's go. So before we get into the numbers, I just want to say that I'm reminded when I look at the numbers on a national level, I'm always happy in bad times that we're actually living here in Ottawa because we're quite insulated and it's a little bit of an anomaly compared to the rest of Canada. Compared to Toronto and Vancouver, we're actually in good shape. So let's dive in, let's tackle the numbers at a high level, and let's see, and let's put this into context. So from a sales perspective, we sold 1,236 homes in August, which is up 12% year over year. And the average price is $686,000. That's from a sales perspective, which is also up 3.6% year over year. And the total listings on the market today, 3,971, giving buyers 13% more choice than this time last year. So far, so good. Check, check, check. And from a months of inventory perspective, we're still at 3.2 months of inventory, which, like in July, signals a balanced market. In the days on market, however, we're now looking at 28 days compared to 24 days in July. So that's trending a little bit higher, but I'm actually just going to discard this as the August vacation schedule. From my perspective, nobody was around. Everywhere I looked, everyone was on vacation. So let's just give that a bit of a break. So again, 28 days of days on market from an August perspective. So it's all good to just look at sort of house sales and house comps and year over year numbers, but we also got to look at some of the bigger picture. We've got to zoom out a little bit and we got to consider things like the interest rates and so on. And from an interest rate perspective, nothing really new to report here in the month of August. However, in September, there are rumors that the Bank of Canada is going to make a move. Some say in the month of September, some say maybe towards the end of the year. But possible rate cuts later this fall, in my opinion, will happen if GDP continues to soften. And we've seen a 1.6% shrink from a GDP perspective in Q2, driven partly by US tariffs, which are hitting exports. And that affects confidence and long-term affordability. And from a jobs perspective, well, we got to look at that too. Employment is mixed. Full-time jobs fell in the month of July, and youth unemployment jumped to 14.6%, which is pretty brutal having kids of my own. And overall, the unemployment is trending closer to 7%. So why does all of this matter? Well, because confidence, affordability, and borrowing power all flow from these particular numbers. And Ottawa is more insulated than in some other markets, thanks to the government and the tech jobs, but we're not bulletproof. Okay, so far so good from a stats perspective. I can live with it. We're sort of treading water. We're in the deep end, but in relative terms, all is pretty good. From a property type perspective, let's break it down. Detached homes in the month of August sold for $840,000, which is up 4% year over year. And the sales volume is also up. It's up 11.5%. And detached homes are pretty steady here in Ottawa. It's the go-to choice for relocating families and for upsizers. And for townhouses, well, they sold for $556,000, which has been pretty flat year over year. However, the sales volume surged 29%. So this is where the action is happening. It's the hottest segment of the market right now. They're affordable. They appeal to both downsizers and to first-time home buyers, and they sell quickly when they're priced right. Now, condos. You've heard the nightmares from condos from a Toronto and a Vancouver perspective, but here in Ottawa, the average condo price is $408,000, which is also flat. But the sales volume is down 15%, and the days on market is 38 days. So the condos are soft, but that's where the opportunity is for investors and for relocation buyers. this is a segment to watch. This just might be your opportunity, particularly if you're a first-time home buyer. You might be scooping up some good condos at a pretty decent price. So let's talk about where we are on the calendar and where we are seasonally. Obviously, August always feels like it's a bit of a pause. And like I said, everywhere I personally looked, everyone was on holidays. None of my colleagues were around. None of my friends and my family were around. It was madness. It was crazy dead. But in September and October, that's when Ottawa sees its second spring market. And this year, urgency will be built around one key motivator. They want to close before Christmas. And if you want to move in and settle in before the holidays, your timing is tighter than you might think. All right, so what do we do as we approach September, as we're in the month of September? Well, for buyers, if you're looking in the detached category, the detached home category, the advice is pretty simple. You're in a balanced market in this particular category. So you have choice, you have time. You don't have to rush, you don't have to panic. You breathe in, relax, follow the game plan, and trust the research that we're doing. And use this time to negotiate not just the price, but of course all the extras, like the closing flexibility, the upgrades, and even conditions that make the deal safer for you and for your family. The same can't be said for townhouses. The townhouses is where the heat of the action is. Everything is turning quickly. So you gotta know what you like, what you don't like, and when you find something that you do like, you gotta be able to move on it a little bit quicker. And from a condo perspective, well, this is your buyer's market. There's more supply, there's softer prices, the days on market is higher, and sellers are potentially more motivated. So if you're investing or you're relocating in this particular category, this could be, like I said, your best entry point that we've seen in years. And here's the thing, buying and selling isn't about picking property specifically or only, it's about what fits your goals, your lifestyle, your timeline, and of course, your budget. And that's where I come in. So I'll sit down, have a coffee with you, and let's discuss what really matters for you, and let's build that game plan that matters to you and to your family. Okay, great. So let's do the same thing now. If you're selling a home in September, October, November, this is what I would recommend. So if you're selling a detached home, just remember that the buyers are coming, the shoppers are coming. They're all coming this fall. They always do. It's the second selling season. We've already talked about that. So you got to highlight lifestyle, proximity to schools, home offices, and of course, green spaces if you have it. What are the buyers prioritizing? Put yourself in their shoes and highlight it. And from a townhouse perspective, this is where the demand is, but don't get too complacent. Presentation and pricing still matter. A well-staged, well-marketed townhouse will outperform in this particular busy segment. And if you're shopping or selling a condo, competition here is even tougher. We've already talked about that. Success here means sharp pricing and professional presentations. You got to show the buyers why your unit is the best choice in a crowded field. And selling, I say this all the time, isn't just about sticking a sign on the front lawn. It's about strategy. And if you're considering listing this fall, obviously, like I say all the time, let's grab a coffee. If you haven't figured it out, I got a bit of an addiction to coffee. Let's grab a coffee, let's chat about your plan, and let's put something together. All right, so let's wrap it up. I like these really short and sweet type of videos. Ottawa's August market was pretty steady, but bigger story is on a national and a global perspective. What are the interest rates? How's the GDP doing? How's the job market? And of course, the tariffs. That's all shaping the buyer and seller behavior here at home. And the truth is, there is no one-size-fits-all answer. Detached homes, townhomes, and even condos, they all tell a different story, and they all have to have their respective approach and their respective strategies. So again, let's connect, let's have a coffee. Now's your opportunity to sit down with us here at the Metro City Property Group. Let's determine where you are at a neighborhood level, where you are at the big city level, where you are with your portfolio, with all your goals and dreams. Happy to do so. I enjoy putting these videos together. Until the next video, stay smart, stay invested. I'll see you next month. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that video. Now, whether you're planning a move or you're looking for the right investment here in Ottawa, I'm here to help you make a smart, confident real estate decision. And I work by referral, so my business depends on how well I serve you. And think about it, if you're not thrilled with the experience, you simply wouldn't recommend me. And that's why I go above and beyond to deliver the results that exceed expectations. So if that sounds like the kind of relationship you're looking for, give me a call. You've got my contact details. Let's schedule a quick call. No pressure, no obligations whatsoever. Let's talk about your next chapter, and I hope I can help, and we'll see you on the next one.